Greetings, friends. Welcome back to the Nerd Alchemist. Griffey here, joined by my friend and co-host
Dandino.
Ooh, coming in sultry. There you go. Dramatic pause into sultry intro. All right, guys, we're here for some random movie talk. As always, guys, please subscribe down below. Thank you for finding us here on YouTube. All right, guys, so today, now that we're all locked in, we thought we'd come up with some extra topics and videos to work on. Today, we found an interesting topic. I'm really excited to talk to you about this because I'm really interested to see what comes next, right? We talked about this because of the pandemic we're facing and the way things are changing in our day-to-day lives. I'm interested to see what kind of stuff, what changes are we making now that will manifest after, this scare, right? And one of them that we're experiencing is Universal and other major movie companies have decided they are going to start releasing their movies that were in theaters as a video-on-demand option early, right? Normally you have to wait a long time for these. I read an article in The Atlantic that, aptly titled or, terrifyingly clickbaity titled, "The End of Movie Theaters." Movie theaters are dead, and this is what killed them. I am interested in your thoughts as to this move by the movie theaters and what will come next after this. And let's go ahead and make the caveat. We are not film studio accountants, so we're just talking gut feelings. Like, we don't know the deep metrics and numbers. We're talking more as a concept of theater versus at-home viewing.
Right. Again, I read Deadline and I work in the business. I am absolutely not I don't work for any of those studios. Caveat. I personally think this is not the end of movie theaters, but this is a seismic shift, man. Like, nothing's going to be the same after this. We're now seeing, first off, Universal's very smart for immediately jumping on this and saying, hey, we've got to do this now, or we are not going to make any of the money we thought we were going to make back. So really what they're doing is seeing how far they can push the market. Now, $20 a pop seems steep for a rental, but I would argue that if I go to with my wife to the movie theater to go see The Invisible Man, even by myself it's almost $20. It's $16.50 at ArcLight. So really I'm only $3.50 shy of paying that full $20 for myself. So if I'm paying $20 for a movie for me and my wife, it's not that big a deal. I mean, I actually think that's probably that might be taking away one ticket, but it's still giving the money where I knew it was going to go.
Yeah, and that'll be the question for them is, how many ticket sales are they losing, right? But I would argue, let's say something like Emma, right? It's one of their 4 releases, right? They're doing Invisible Man, The Hunt, Emma, and Trolls. And I think they're almost all a very interesting different case study. Emma, there's a crowd that would be excited for that movie, right? I love a lot of the actors, so I probably would have gone to see it. But I have Regal Pass, right? So I get a movie a day for free. And, coming off of the now RIP Movie Pass, RIP, bro, that changed the way that I think a lot of us watched films, right?
Yeah.
I think Movie Pass is the shot across the bow that started this assault on the movie theater experience, but in a different way. Because what you can say is that things like Movie Pass and Regal Pass bring us to the theater, but what it also does is devalue the movie theater experience to me, which is now you have a lot more people checking out things that they're not really that excited about. So the audience felt worse, right? Audiences have just felt worse to me for years. And I know people say it's a get off my lawn position, but I think it's just cell phones, man. We can't go watch a movie that lags in the second act and not immediately think about going to our phones. And so people talking and being on their phones, I was just at The Grudge. And again, I'm telling you, I don't know why it always happens to me, but it's teenagers just surfing Instagram and taking selfies in their seats while the fucking movie's playing. And that's not an okay way to see a movie. So I think what you see is this, the theater going experience for you is very expensive, period. For me, it is not expensive, but there are some movies that without seeing it on Regal Pass, I wouldn't go see for full ticket price, right?
Right. I mean, that's part of the, I mean, when you get a free movie a day, you really don't have to choose. You just walk up and go, oh, that movie's available. I'll go see that. Like, that's the benefit of that. Like, and I'm not saying it's like, oh, you have like no taste. All you're doing is just watching a movie that's available.
Right.
But when I have to pay for it, I'm discerning like what I want to see. Like, I'll be honest, like when I would go to the theaters originally, like when we were going like almost every day when we had Movie Pass, we just like saw whatever. Like I saw anything that was in the theater simply because I could.
Like there's only a couple releases and even in LA where we had our pick of tons of theaters. Oh yeah. Like even add in the indie movies, there's only X amount new movies a week. Right,
exactly. So like at some point, like the Lamely NoHo 7 became boring because we're like, well, I've seen all these fucking movies. There's absolutely nothing for me to see here. So we start like, well, let's go see that. Like, I mean, again, I always use this as the like we went and saw Downsizing, and that was the worst movie I've ever seen in the theater. And it was one of the like the weirdest movie going experiences because the theater also was like a bunch of people who definitely would never have seen that movie probably. Like not a big Alexander Payne crowd in that theater. But again, I'm not sure I would have seen that in the theater anyways. Like simply because again, I've known what to expect now. So I actually think this is a really interesting opportunity for the movie studios because what we're seeing now is like the next big push is going to be the release because these are all movies, by the way, that have already been in theaters for a little bit. Like The Hunt's been in theaters for a week now. Trolls has been in theaters, right?
No.
Trolls and Emma haven't released.
And Emma had dropped. Trolls was about to. Okay, and Invisible Man has been out for a while.
Right. Invisible Man's been out for like 3 or 4 weeks now. Mm-hmm. The Hunt dropped last week. I'm not sure when Emma dropped. So Trolls is a premiere.
Yeah.
I think that you're going to see Trolls do very well because people have children at home and all the schools are out. So we're basically all just like locked in our houses trying to entertain our kids. And as someone with a kid who doesn't sit down and watch movies at this point because he's 11 months old, like that is like that's like the biggest struggle right now is finding ways to like exhaust him so that he's not like a total shit by the end of the day.
Yeah, well, we're at the point too. Like my 5 and 2-year-old, we've seen everything multiple times. So you get to a point as a parent where you're like, I'm not watching Moana for the 500th time. I will watch anything, right? Like I watched that Jeremy Renner dog movie where he wants to be like a delivery dog. Horrible, garbage movie. But we're like, fine, we're just out and about in a movie theater. It's just better. Like we'll just sit there with kids. So I think Trolls is the most interesting, right? Because I think most people will say, but this is where I'm interested, right? This is where we can start to break down what's going to happen, right? Because for us, the value of going to see kids' movies, even shitty ones, right? Like whatever that Jeremy Renner one was. I cannot remember what it was called for the life of me.
I didn't even know that was a movie.
Yeah, he wants to be a delivery dog. It's fucking garbage. It's one of the worst movies I've ever sat through, but you're like, fine, I did it in a theater. That was better, right? My kids liked it, so that's all that mattered. But for us, going out with the kids, being in public, walking up to the concession, they like to order the popcorn and get their little trays. They like sitting in the theater. They like the whole experience of it. So now you're losing that, right? On the other hand, $20 is a cheap day for my family of 4 versus what we do at the theater, including me getting a free movie, right? Once you add in a couple concessions, we don't go nuts, and 2 other tickets, and we get the baby for free. It's still over $40-$50 every single time, it feels like. Every fucking time, right? So on that note, you're like, it is a better deal. Now, here's where I'm really fascinated by this. Because for me personally, I was so excited The Invisible Man was coming out. And I was like, awesome. On Friday, I'm going to be able to pay $20 and purchase the digital copy of Invisible Man. And then I read, no, it's a 48-hour rental. And I said, oh, fuck that. Right? I will wait another month or two and then buy Invisible Man for $20 digitally. And that's where I'm interested to see how this plays against their already existing video on demand market, right? So a movie like Invisible Man, I can go to Regal and see it for free, right? If I don't get any concessions, I see it for free essentially. Let's say it's a percentage of the $18 they pay a month. Fine. Like, I see it for cheap. Then when it comes out, I can buy it if I want for $20 or rent it for like $4 to show my wife, right? That's kind of how my mold works. If it's something I know I'll watch a lot, right? Like The Lighthouse or something, I'll buy that. And if it's something I just want Amy to watch, we'll rent it for $4 or $5. This is where I'm interested. So you want people to pay $20 to rent it, and then is that same person going to have a hard time swallowing paying $20 5 months down the road to purchase it? And what does that do to your existing business structure?
Well, I think that's the sliding scale you have to look at. Like, also, like, this is like, I'm not sure this is like this actual $20 for a 48-hour rental is not going to last, I don't think. But at this moment in time, $20 for a 48-hour rental seems like a fucking gold mine. So you buy it, you rent it for that amount of money, and then like I think about, if I rented it for Andrea and I, that's the price of one ticket. We stay at home, like we're fine. Right. And not only that, like we don't have to pay for a babysitter because we have a little baby. We can't go to the movies. Like we have to swap in and out.
We talked about this. Like when I first had Hunter 5 years ago when we started podcasting together, I was like, fuck, I would pay $50 to watch Kong Skull Island right now in my living room with my wife. Right? Like I was like, because you start going fucking insane. Because we lived in LA and we didn't know babysitters. We didn't have grandparents around like now. And I was like, I just want to watch movies with my wife. And I hated that adjustment as a new parent was really hard to like, oh, you don't see every movie in the theater when it happens. Then he gets a little older and we were cool. But yeah, that was me and Amy's. Like that was our thing we loved to do was go out, eat something, shop a little, and go to a movie. That's gone. Me and Amy have not gone to probably more than 10 movies together that weren't kids' movies in the last 5 years. And so I've always said, I was like, fuck, man, if you gave me that at home, I would pay $50 for that. I was like, if I could do that at home with Star Wars, this is my most interesting, kind of thought experiment. If I could have watched Avengers Endgame, Rise of the Skywalker at home, right? Movies of that scale. Would I pay $50 to rent that at home? And I honestly think I would because the fanboy experience of those movies is a huge turnoff to me. I don't like the clapping. Yeah. I don't like the screaming. I don't like the, I love this more than everyone else, so I'm going to inject myself into the Avengers movie. And that's why I was like, those movies are the threshold to me where it becomes fascinating. Because those also are the movies that will lose the most from the theatrical equipment, right?
Right. Well, I mean, I can tell you for one, like Endgame, based on what happened with us, he was born the week Endgame came out,
right?
So, like for me,
I would have paid $50.
Here's all my fucking money, like for the love of God. So let me not have, because like Andrea and I literally went in shifts to go see that movie. Like, we had family here, but we still like swapped in and out. Yeah. Like I was like, we cannot like do so. Like I came home. I was like, I'm not talking to you. Go to the theater, so I don't tell you anything that happened. So like that's how we saw the movie. I would have absolutely paid $50 for that. Yeah. Now here's like the real big catch. Disney, who owns like pretty much 2/3 of the IP in Hollywood at this point. Disney is saying Black Widow, for instance, which is supposed to come out in May, has been like delayed indefinitely. I think Disney's going to be the real thought experiment here because like Universal and like, I don't think releasing a kids movie, like Trolls is a great example of, I think releasing a kids movie VOD on the day it's supposed to be released in theaters is probably fine. Like you'll probably make roughly the same amount of money, probably a little bit less.
Of the four, we will rent Trolls for sure. That's the one that we would rent.
That is absolutely what parents and like that's what that movie's meant for. So I actually think that's probably you're going to see a dip in sales just because you're not going to the theater, you're not buying per ticket cost, but I think you're going to see parents renting it a lot and you're going to see that as a big rental item.
And I think you're going to catch a lot of extra people that normally just don't want to deal with a theater full of kids. I think for the kids movies it'll be pretty and again, this isn't like a Pixar movie, it's Trolls, right?
No.
I know all animated kids movies probably do well, but I think Trolls will be fine, right?
Oh, no, I think it'll be fine, too.
Why Disney's important, right, is because something like Emma and The Hunt have such a small audience theatrically anyways. The people that really want to see it, how much are you Like, are people going to have viewing parties of 10 people to watch The Hunt? I doubt it. I mean, especially right now.
Well, not now. Yeah, exactly. Like, I mean, I think that the real test is Disney because Black Widow's a great example. So they've said Black Widow's delayed indefinitely. Like, they haven't even given a push date.
Yeah.
I think that will probably change within a week because they're going to see, like, within a week, like, look, everything changes in our world right now, like, by the hour. Yeah. Like, we've been talking now we've been potting for almost 2 hours now. I haven't looked at my phone or the news. Who knows what, like, fucking pops up randomly.
We're very much like Jared Leto right now. We could just come out of the desert and be like, oh, God.
Oh, my God, what happened? Wait, I'm not Joker anymore? Like, it's a whole thing. But
Too soon.
I really think that they're going to change their tune within a week, and I think that because they have this, like, this is also an interesting thing. Like, Disney Plus has lagged a lot, I think, because while we all got through The Mandalorian and all of the content they had, like, now they have no new content. Like, they're rolling out the Clone Wars, but that's also a niche audience.
They rush dropped Frozen 2, so we'd have
rush dropped Frozen 2. I actually think this is an excellent application of Disney Plus. What you do is you keep that release date for Black Widow. You put it behind a paywall on the app, which requires people to get it. You give people a deal. There's a ton of people who got Disney Plus for 30 days, dropped it so they could watch because they wanted to watch The Mandalorian.
Yeah,
dropped it. I guarantee, like, the best thing they could do right now to get people to go back is to say, hey, if you sign up for Disney Plus now, like, you can watch Black Widow for free. Those of you who already have the app, you can pay $20 to watch it. We have a 48, like, you can rent it. Like, that is the way to do this, I think, because we're not going to the movie theater anytime soon, and just pushing that movie is money burned. Hardcore.
Yeah, and we had already wondered what the box office for Black Widow would have looked like, because coming off of these monumentally enormous Marvel films, what is the first one about a character who doesn't exist anymore look like, right? Like, what could that have been anyways? And yeah, you're right. Disney Plus is a garbage app because, like, me and my kids don't even watch it unless it's National Geographic. Because like, we've already seen all the shit, or we've owned, like, the classics on DVD. We don't need that app at all. So something like Black Widow would be fascinating. But
I mean, I think that's the best use of the app.
Like, when is the movie that everyone is really desperately excited to see coming out? And what does the war for that look like? Like, Fast and the Furious would have been a great example, right?
That's what I was thinking too. Fast 9 is perfect.
For $50. I bet they would have sold a fuckload of those.
Like, I think
maybe not even that, right? But like Avengers, you're still going to have the people who desperately want to go to the theater, but you can also bilk people who don't for $50 at home. My theory is that for non-giant tentpole movies, you're going to start seeing a lot of this. And the other X factor, again, we are not financial wizards, but now you don't have any splits or restrictions with the theaters.
Right.
So this is all in-house, which I have to imagine means a lot.
I mean, this is like it's a watershed moment. Like, this happening in the world is going to change the way we watch or consume our movies regardless. Like, there's no going back to the way it was, because now that we've done this and now that Universal's shown their hand and been like, hey, we're willing to help. Yeah. Because, like, I mean, this is like Disney's concession was like, hey, we'll release Frozen 2 early, even though we know we're not technically allowed to. Like, that was their immediate concession, which was like, here's a movie for your kids. Mm-hmm. That's not good enough. Universal upped the game and said, hey, these movies are still in fucking theaters, but we want your money, so here's a rental. Warner Brothers probably needs to come in next with something, like anything that they have shot at this point.
Well, Birds of Prey is already announced. That's dropping.
Birds of Prey's been announced. Like,
and that'll be another amazing test case because it struggled in theater, but might find a big boom at home.
I think it probably will, to be honest with you.
Everything I read is that it's amazing. It's just for some reason we didn't go to the theaters to see it. So yeah, hopefully I
think you're going to see movies like that, like those middle market superhero movies, particularly, whether they're trying to push as big tent poles, are going to find real life in my living room when I rent them for $20 because like me and my wife don't want to have to like shift out at the theater.
Right.
Like for instance, I go see movies for these pods.
Yeah.
My wife doesn't a lot of the time. So
Yeah.
like she has to wait for them to be on VOD anyways. Like
Yeah.
she really wanted to see Little Women. Little Women's only available on Prime for purchase.
Yeah.
So she's like, well, I really wanted to rent it. I don't want to buy it. And I'm like,
Yeah.
well, I understand that. Like, that's like a whole nother aspect to this that no one's thinking of right now.
That's the cog in the video on demand that they'll have to adjust to me, which is, I think you need here's how much it costs to rent for a week. But I think that's going to be hard to swallow for people, which is, again, if you told me right now I could get Trolls for $20 for a 48-hour rental or $30 and I would own it, I would pay the 30, right? But I'll probably rent Trolls. But like Invisible Man, I already saw it in theaters. I'm not spending 20 to then spend 20 again down the road to rent it.
Right.
I'm not. Like, I'm just not going to do that. And that's the one that I think is interesting. Now, something like The Hunt and Emma, whatever, that's where I'm at. Because like, there's a movie I've been desperately trying to see because I want to do it on the podcast. The Lodge, right? From the filmmakers of Goodnight Mommy, I think was the first movie.
Yep.
Great movie, terrible, obvious twist ending, but fine. I really liked the movie. I wanted to see The Lodge. It was in one theater in Indiana, not at a Regal, by the way. I had work that week, so I was traveling. By the time I got back, it was already gone, and now they've shut everything down. What is the benefit of The Lodge making garbage money at the box office versus if that had been on demand to purchase a month ago, they would already have my $20. Right. That's
they
the
talked
kind
about
of movie. Because I know this is the thing, like the Scorseses and Tarantinos and Lynch, right? You can only see a movie on the big screen. I was a film student. I love movies as much as anyone. I'm not a film hipster. I don't really care how I watch movies. I'm a story guy. I just want to spend time in the worlds and the story and characters. So I don't know. I love going to the theater as much as anyone you'll meet.
Yeah.
There are movies that I would just rather watch at home. So this is where I'm interested to see how this all shakes out. But I think something like The Lodge, I have a hard time imagining that's going to get a lot of run in the future in a movie theater versus just coming out at home. And as a horror movie fan, maybe that's the scary part is those movies I love and all the great horror movie experiences I've had in the theater, some of those might be gone. But we've also had a resurgence in awesome low-budget horror movies like Bliss and Daniel Isn't Real and things like that premiere on Shudder and get a lot of love there.
Here's the thing. I think you're going to see the streaming platforms have a huge boom to business. Like that movie Saint Maud that we talked about,
oh, fuck. I forgot. I'm not going to get to see that now.
This is a perfect opportunity, though, for Amazon or anybody to pick it up.
I would buy that right
hey,
now for $30.
Fuck yeah, dude. I would buy that 100%.
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you right now, the real test is going to be any movie that came out last weekend. Like, for instance, Bloodshot, that Sony, the Valiant Comics adaptation.
I would buy that right now for $0.
Right, but here's the thing. Valiant got reported to bomb. And I'm like, you can't really call something a bomb when literally no one was going to the theater for anything. Like, the highest rated movie made like $14 million. This made $9 million. It came in third.
Yeah.
So to call it a bomb seems kind of unlikely. So
well, it's like that movie had to go uphill against the worst trailer of all time and a pandemic. That's not fair.
Right. Not fair. So what they should be doing is literally pull everything you need that came out last weekend. I don't know like what other movies came out. All of those need to get pulled out of theaters.
Yep.
And all of them need to get released on an app. Like every single one. I'm
sure a lot of that is contractual now if they've already gotten to the theater, but anything that was scheduled to come out this weekend on.
I would say contracts are pretty much null and void given that the entire world shut down. So
well, the movie theaters have no pull here. If they're like, hey, we're gonna fucking fight you to tooth and nail over Bloodshot, and then a theater or a company just goes, well, fuck you. You can never have any of our other movies. Right. I don't know what the theaters can do.
Well, I mean, AMC is looking at a serious liquidity issue, and they're going to have to sell off a bunch of assets. So I'm not sure the movie theaters are going to be in much position to barter. They're going to have to say, all right, we'll sell X, Y, and Z back to you, like the rights to not. Like they're going to have to start selling those kinds of assets, like the rights to not put it on streaming. Like they're going to have to do that simply to stay afloat until people are allowed back in the movie theaters. That's just
is
economics.
The final bit of the conversation, right? Is I used to work in a movie theater. Again, I go to the theater every week, usually more than once. I love it. It's my sanctuary, man. And I think that the thing that people aren't addressing when you have all these people, theatrical matters, theatrical experience matters. A lot of those people live in a place where you can get a good theatrical experience, right? Like when I used to live in LA, I would go to the New Art, small little indie theaters, 1 to 3 screen theaters where if you were there, you were a real movie lover. And you were there to watch the kind of movies that don't draw in people who just want to surf their phone in a different room, right? So we were there for the movies, and the community's better. I live in Indiana now, and the respect for the cinema experience is fucking 0%, like none. No one fucking cares to be decent to other people, it feels like, especially in horror movies, man. So the movie theaters are really caught here behind... People now want everything right now at their fingertips, at their home, right? They can probably get it for just about economically as good of a deal. But this is the thing. What I'm hoping is I don't want theaters to go away. But if this is the shot in the arm that says, hey, movie theaters, you need to take the cinematic experience more seriously. And if your customers are fucking that up, you need to purge these fucking, dead limbs from the body, or else it could bring you all down. Why would I rather pay to watch a movie at home, right, instead of dealing with these fucking monsters at the theater? I went and saw Invisible Man, and there were just 3 old pieces of shit that talked the whole movie. I think that you're going to see that tense experience, man. I need that.
Well, and I think that's like the really triggering part of this whole thing is like movie theaters like Alamo Drafthouse, for instance, have like really strict phone and talking rules. Like,
and I don't know how you enforce that in an 18-screen theater, honestly. Like, I don't have a solution.
No, I agree. Like, I don't have a solution at all. But, like, I think that the shot that you were talking about is simply... It's not necessarily... Like, what it is it's not just, look at all these terrible fucking walking mozzarella sticks who ruin the theater experience for the rest of us.
It's the most Italian thing you've ever said on any of our shows.
It's
look
also...
At these fucking mozzarellas.
It's also, though, hey... Maybe don't squeeze 30 minutes of commercials before 30 minutes of trailers.
Okay. The commercials are fucking infuriating too. But that's
terrible.
That's how, I'm sure they don't do that because they think we like it. They do that because
they
that's
do it
how
to
they
make
stay
money.
afloat. But again,
that's also another thing.
That's hurting
this
my
whole thing's about to
cinematic
get
experience.
Streamlined. The whole experience is about to get streamlined. Because now that all of this happened, they have to completely they have to minimize the exposure, so they have to completely redo the experience entirely. Going to the theaters is going to start becoming a thing again. Like,
I hope
we're
so.
Going like it is.
That's what I mean. I went to the movies. The last movie I went to, it literally was 30 minutes, almost to the second, before my movie started. From when they started the trailer, not including the annoying ass pre-show, where like, here, pull your phone out and you can battle spaceships, blah, 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 whatever the fuck they're doing.
Right.
People, getting these massive sodas and they need a refill in the middle of the movie on an 80-ounce soda. The whole thing has just gotten out of control to me. And again, I love seeing a movie I love when I'm at a horror movie and you get that legitimate gasp from the whole audience at the right moment. The thing I can't stand is that a lot of people just don't give a fuck. Like when I watch Underwater, again, another tight, tense thing, just these people fucking laughing and scrolling Facebook like, look at this fucking video. Some girl was watching a fucking video of her friends drunk
that's the
somewhere
worst.
in the middle. And I was just like, all right, do I fight 90 people in a theater to yell at them? And this is why, again, I don't know how you enforce on a grand scale, right? Like somewhere like the Alamo or smaller theaters, you could probably do this a little easier. When you have like a 20-screen megaplex in the middle of Indiana, right? We have a couple theaters, because we don't have as many people. How do you fucking say, hey, I know you just got here from Old Country Buffet. You're loaded up on fondue liquid chocolate, and you're all razz, right? You're like, you have so much energy, it's going to be hard to sit. We want your money, but also we can't allow you in here because you're a monster.
Right.
I want to get back to where, the theatrical experience when it's great, there's nothing better. And I know there's probably someone listening to this who's going to say, yeah, fuck you, Griffey, because when people watch movies at home, they're on their phone the whole time. That's a you problem, right? If you're watching something you really care about, put your phone away And also, I'm glad that person's at home surfing their phone and not ruining the fucking movie for those of us that
Yeah, that's fine. If that's what they're going to do watching a movie, then they should stay home and do it. That's fine.
That's what I mean.
What you do in the privacy of your own home watching a movie, you still paid the fucking money. I don't have to see you sitting on your phone. That's fine.
Yeah. I mean, and it happened in music, and I don't know that there's really an analog on cost and all that, but I think this is inevitable, man, because the theaters have let the customers get out of control. I mean, AMC was actually talking about having screenings that specifically encouraged phone use until we all were like, we will burn you to the fucking ground, right? So the theaters have let the experience get out of control and, for the most part, horrible, right? With the trailers, the talking, the phones, the fucking $18 for a popcorn and water. And that sucks because I want the theaters to be better and I want to keep giving them my money, right? There are also movies that I think will benefit greatly because I can't find them where I am. And I think it's a really sad thing that moviegoers who passionately want to see a movie can't give that movie their money. You know what I mean? Because of some arbitrary metrics of box office and whatever, you need to just be getting these things out to people. So I don't know if this is the right way. Like, I won't rent Invisible Man for $20. I'll wait till I can buy it for the same price. You know, a movie like Trolls, right now they're not going to make money, but 3 months from now, a movie like Trolls might lose money at $20. I don't know the economics of this, but what I know is that when you tell me I can get the new release movie at my home the same day as the theater, that there is a large percentage of those movies that I will choose to watch here instead of there. And I don't know what that means for movie theaters going forward. I hope movie theaters are still strong and awesome and I can keep taking my kids there forever. I hope that the experience is great, man. And also there are movies I want to be able to see The Lodge even though I live in Indiana, right? So that's what I think we should look at this not as we're destroying and disrupting everything, but maybe a chance to just make movies better for everyone.
Yeah, we're just changing the MO. It has to happen.
Yeah. I mean, Martin Scorsese can pick it outside of everyone's house and be like, that's not how you watch cinema. Right? He's got free time and money.
Fine.
That's fine, man. But
I don't give a shit.
Yeah. I just hope that through all of this, the movie theater experience gets better and I'm able to see the movies I want to see every fucking day, man. That's my hope for all this. Guys, hit us up in the comments section. What are your thoughts, fears? What did we miss? What's going on? Are you excited to have these movies, maybe at a higher price point, in your own home? As always, find us on our podcast, The Long Box Sessions, The Film Alchemist. We got lots of good stuff coming for you. And subscribe and share us with your friends. That means the world to us. For the Nerd Alchemist, I'm Josh Griffey.
I'm Alex Dandino.
Just watch movies, guys. Stay safe and watch a lot of movies.